Hey, it's Tom, and this is first video from a series about collections built into Swift. Today we're going to talk about dictionaries, so let's start with some theory. In general, dictionary is a pretty popular type of collection. The difference between arrays and dictionaries is that dictionaries are not ordered, so the order of values returned from a dictionary every time may vary. Of course, there is a trick. We can set a constant seed, but to get the random numbers in the same order. But we shouldn't do this on production in any case. So that's just for you to know. And the good thing about dictionaries is definitely that retrieving a value from a dictionary usually takes a constant time. It's also the difference between dictionary and array, because on retrieving value from array, in worst case, can grow linearly with the size of array, while in dictionary it's still constant. And in general, the idea behind the dictionary is that it's a collection of unique keys with corresponding values. And as with other collections in Swift, dictionaries are also strongly typed. That means that we have to specify types for both keys and values. And for whole collection, they have to be the same. The good thing is that we can also set the key or value to conform some protocol, and then we can use different objects of different classes or structs to be the keys or values. And in general, dictionaries are hash tables. So all keys under the hood are being stored in some kind of array, and the keys are being changed into hash values. And that's why it's so easy to check if some kind of value corresponding with some key exists in the dictionary. And let me check what I also noticed. Yeah, and the good thing is that all keys in dictionary have to conform hashable protocol. And the good thing in Swift is that all basic built-in types like strings, integers, floating point numbers, and booleans already do it. So if you are using strings, integers, floating point numbers, or booleans as keys, using booleans as keys is tricky and has no point to be honest, but it's working. You don't have to implement any hash function. And what's also good, that if you are going to use structs or enums as keys in dictionary, and as long as they are being built of variables which are the basic types built into Swift, like integers, strings, floating point numbers, and booleans, this kind of struct or enum also conforms the hashable protocol, so they can also be used as keys without any changes. Yeah, a lot of theory to understand. I think that we should switch into some code, and then it might be much easier to explain you all the details. So let's start with the playground. Okay, we are on the playground, and let's start with creating dictionaries. So there are many ways you can create a dictionary. First and the most important difference is that you can create mutable and immutable dictionaries, and that depends only on what kind of keyword you will use to create it. So we can try to create an immutable dictionary at first. We can use the example from Apple website, from Apple documentation. Yeah, and that's immutable dictionary created using literals. I will explain that a little bit later. And because it's immutable, the size have to be constant, and also you cannot change the content, so any value and key cannot be modified. So in this case, immutable response messages 200. Yeah, you cannot do this because it's immutable. Of course, it's much more easy to work with mutable dictionaries, and we can start creating them right now. So let's start with this kind of declaration. I can copy all of them that I prepared. So in general, you can use initializer syntax to create dictionaries. However, as you see, it's pretty long, and honestly, when I'm working with dictionaries and I'm reviewing code of different developers, I never see this kind of initialization because it's pretty long. It's much easier, honestly, to use dictionary literals. We can do something like that, and as you see, you still know that the dictionary will contain keys which are integers and values which are string, and the description is much shorter, and it's much easier to understand while going through the code. One important thing to remember is that values in dictionaries might be optional, so you can still keep some keys and don't assign any value to them. And you have to remember about it if you are going to delete some value, because if you will assign a nil to a value in a dictionary in which value can be optional, then you're not deleting the whole entry, the key and value. You're just assigning nil. So it's pretty important to get the difference. Okay, so that's there are many different ways to create a dictionary. So maybe let's create a second dictionary with already assigned values, and this one will be mutable. As you see, there are different response keys which you can get while accessing some API. And the other way to create a mutable dictionary while having immutable, you can just make a copy. So mutable responses is just a copy of, yeah. And right now, yeah, as you see, the response for code 200 was changed, and as I mentioned, the order is random. So when we will start this code, once again the order of the keys and values might differ. Okay, yeah. So currently we don't need it, I think. Okay, so let's maybe switch into checking values which are in dictionary. So at first we can start with checking if what's the count of objects within the dictionary. So we can use count, and as you see, there are 4 elements. Of course, we can also check if dictionary is empty, and in this case response is false, of course, because there are 4 values within. And now we can switch to accessing particular values, because that's pretty interesting in case of dictionaries. So at first we can use a subscript, so we can check a response for code 200. Yeah, that's okay. And important thing to remember in this case that dictionary is always returning an optional value. So if there is no value assigned to a key you're asking for, it will just return nil and won't break your code, as in case of array, in which if you would ask for a object on index which is not in the array, it would just crash. Okay, the other way to get through, for example, all elements in dictionary is just to go through all the keys and ask for the keys. So we can do something like that. Allow me to copy the code to save your time. So yeah, we can do something like that. We can go through all keys of this dictionary and then just use subscription to get the value for a particular key, and we can add optional response in case the value won't exist. However, in this case it's impossible, so we can also explicitly unwrap it, and that would also work and will never crash. Okay, as I mentioned, the order in which the responses in which the keys and values are being retrieved from dictionary is random, but there is a trick you can use. You can just sort the keys or values if we are going through the values, and as you see, yeah, the responses are in exactly the order in which they should be. So we are sorting integers, so the higher the value, the later the key appears on sorted array. Of course, we could also switch through the pairs of key and value, and that will work definitely in the same way. We can also just go through only values, so in okay, maybe let's comment that one. Yeah, they can also be sorted. So right now we'll be sorting strings, so it should be AFIO. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so right now we can switch to updates, to mutation of this form of collection. So at first we can assign some new value to a dictionary using subscription, as I presented you at first. Immutable responses. Yeah, we can just make a copy. Mutable responses. Yeah, and assign the value. And we can also use an update value. So mutable responses, update value. We can use very okay for key 200, and yeah, we can print previous and print mutable responses. And yeah, so previously it was very okay because we updated it here, and after the update it's very okay. So when we are using update value, it's returning previous value for this particular key. If there was no value, then this pair will be added, and it will return simply nil. Okay. Of course, we can also delete values from dictionary. So 200, and as long as the value is not optional, it will work. And responses, yeah, as we see, there's no server response for code 200 because we just deleted. And we can also use yeah, let's delete it. It's remove, sorry, remove value for 200. Yeah, so we can also delete value using remove value, and as in case of update, it just returns the value that's being deleted. In case there will be no value, it will just return nil and nothing wrong would happen. And yeah, we have updated our dictionary. And the good thing about dictionaries is that we can also merge them. So for example, let's create a new dictionary called merged, and that be immutable response messages, merging additional, yeah, first, second, let's use this, yeah. So that looks a little bit tricky, but while merging dictionaries, it may happen that both of them have values assigned to the same keys. And in this case, we have to explicitly say which value should override which. So we have two conflicting values, first and second. The first comes from immutable responses messages, and the second comes from additional response messages. And if we, like here, return first, then it means that the value from immutable response messages will get a higher priority and won't be deleted, and the value from additional response messages will be just ignored. So we can just print yeah, this new dictionary, and as you see, we have conflict for code 200, and immutable responses has OK answer, and additional responses has working answer. And because we asked to use the value from immutable response messages, the response for 200 is OK. In case we would do something like that, it will be working. Yeah, because that means we are giving a higher priority to additional response messages. That's pretty tricky and pretty cool way to work on dictionaries. However, it might work for you. You can imagine merging contact books or contacts from different sources, like from Facebook, from contact book, or from Twitter maybe. Yeah, there's last thing that's very important in case of dictionaries. I believe it's important because dictionaries are built-in collections in Swift. You can also use the very basic operators that you are going to use working with collections, like filter, like map, like reduce. In case of reduce in dictionary, it's a little bit tricky, but so we will skip that. I never got any chance to use reduce in dictionary, so I think we can skip just that. but we definitely can use, for example, filter. And in case of filter, we can, for example, filter the error messages. So error messages have response codes higher than 300. So error messages will be yeah, we can use merged, why not. Filter and yeah, key value, if key is bigger or equal to 300. Return. Yeah. Yeah, so we got only answers which are errors from server. We can also use map, and there are two ways to use map. So we can use a normal map, which will produce an array, because dictionary is a collection. So we can get, for example, an array of only just values. It would be merged map, and yeah, we can use shorter description, and we can print the values. Yeah, as you see, we have an array of all values used in responses. Of course, we can transform them. We can use, for example, uppercase to get uppercase answers from the server. But there are some cases in which we still want to keep the dictionary. We just want to transform the values, but still have the working dictionary. In this case, dictionary, we can use map values function built into the collection. So that would be, for example, only error messages, map values, and in this case, values, we can use also short description, and that could be also just uppercase, because in this case $0 means already a value, because we get only access to the values. And print mapped dictionary. Okay, that should work. Okay, yeah, so right now we still have a dictionary, just the values are being transformed. And yeah, that's everything I wanted to show you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Of course, this playground will be published. It will be linked below the video. I will add some more description and explanation in which step what I'm going to do, and why the result is like this and not different. Yeah, so this is everything for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section. I will be more than happy to explain you something or help. Thank you for your time. Bye.